unchangeable God.
Hello everyone, so welcome to the second episode of Journey Unfolded. My name is Alberta Ohima Amankwa. So today I'm going to talk about how I got here in obedience. So after my first episode, people were asking me, how did I get here? What happened? What changed? Yes, so I'm going to talk about obedience. So after this video, you realize that how I got here in obedience, they are linked together. Okay, so I like to make my videos very short but impactful. So I'm going to be very brief, but you're going to gain something from whatever I'm going to share today. So how I started my journey, I met a man of God who told me, if you worship God well, he will bless you. So in Chi, this is what he said, Mami, that is what he told me. So I remember the first time, the day he told me, I called my mom and I told her, this is what the man of God is telling me. And then I told Vanessa and Lathbridge that this is what the man of God told me. So when they told me, I thought of it. I sat down, I thought of it, I prayed about it. I was like, at that time, I didn't have more knowledge about God like I do now. But when he told me, it hit me and I thought of it. So I was like, okay, let me get committed to him. I was born into a Christian home, but I wasn't, how will I even put it? I wasn't really committed. Yes, so when he told me, I made that decision myself. I'm like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I know it won't be easy, but this is what I want to do. So my friend came to visit me, Dennis. So when Dennis came, I told him, I want to visit his church. I had a church, I was going to church, yeah. I told him I wanted to visit his church. So that was what happened. So I went to his church, Eagles House Chapel, at Chimota, yeah, Eagles House Chapel. So I went to the church for the first time. I had a good encounter. I went there again. So I started going to church there, and then I decided to join the church. The man of God there is Prophet Samuel Addison. He has been of great impact in my life. You know, one thing about me is I appreciate people. You know, as time goes on, you meet people in your life that add impact to your life. And I never forget them because he has helped me in so many ways. So many ways. So I'm very grateful to him. And anytime I stand somewhere, I'm going to mention his name because he has helped me and I will never forget about that. So aside that, I met other people in the church. I met people in the church that also helped me in a lot of ways here. So I'm very grateful to every single person. One person I want to talk about is Apostle Joseph Kofi Akomani. I met him through someone, and when I met this man of God, he took me as his daughter. He has helped me in so many ways. He has impacted my life. And I'm very grateful to him. Very grateful to him. And he's still helping me. He still prays for me. He calls me to check up on me. I know he's also somebody that anytime I stand in front of people, I'll mention his name. Anytime I'm telling my story, he's going to be part of it. When I started my journey, it wasn't easy because I was still learning and unlearning behaviors. I told myself I'll go to church every Sunday because I realized that anytime I went to church, I learned something from the word that was being shared. So I made sure I don't go out Saturday evenings or I don't do anything that will make me so tired so that I wouldn't be able to go to church on Sunday. That was something I told myself. I had a time to go to God and pray every day. I made time for God to pray. For God to pray. And then aside that, in my first episode, I gave an advice about treating people with kindness and being kind to people, treating people well. Because the door that opened for me to come here, it was through somebody. And imagine if I wasn't kind to her, it was through one of my aunties. Imagine if I didn't treat her well, if I wasn't kind or if I wasn't respectful. So, at some point in my journey, along the line, I started praying for God to open traveling doors for me. One opened earlier. So the one that opened, I even started the process, but along the line, she spoke about this one. This door got opened through her. Yeah. So she called me to inform me if I was informed me about it and asked me if I was interested. I used to go to her supermarket to help her to help her at the shop, to run errands with her. Sometimes we'll go and pick the kids from school. Yes. So imagine if I wasn't kind to her. Imagine if I wasn't treating her well. Do you think when this opportunity came, she would have informed me about it or asked me if I was interested? So in as much as you are trying to know God, or you are getting to know God on a personal level, you should also be mindful of how you treat people. Because I also stated that if God is going to bless you, it's going to be through people. So you should know how to deal with people. I made up my mind that I will learn whatever I'm supposed to learn. You know, in my introductory video, I mentioned that salvation is immediate and sanctification is a process. I was willing to go through that process. I was learning and unlearning behaviors. Even as I now, I'm still learning and unlearning behaviors. And you know, I always tell people that we should be very confident and proud when we are talking about God. We should be very confident. We shouldn't be shy. We shouldn't be scared that people are going to judge us. No. Nobody is in that position to judge anybody. So I had a conversation with someone some time ago, and the person was saying people pretend and post about God on social media. And I told him, please, you are in no position to judge anybody, because you might never know who is being touched. You might never know who is being saved. My favorite verse, whoever finds you finds life and shall obtain favor from the Lord. I mentioned it in my first episode. I saw this on social media. I don't know where exactly, but I saw it. When I started my journey, I saw it. I meditated upon the word. And see, that word, anytime I talk about God, I talk about it. Anytime I'm having a conversation with somebody, I mention it. Because you can never find God and fail. You can never find God and be put to shame. No, never. So I always encourage people to be proud and confident when they talk about God. I'm sure people are wondering, why did she decide to open a channel? Why is she doing this? What happened? What came? Yeah. You know what I'm doing is an answered prayer. Yes. When I started my journey, one of the prayers I said to God was, God, I want my life to be a living testimony to others. I want people to hear my story and tell themselves, I want to get to know her God. I want to stand in front of people and tell people who my God is. And then they'll tell themselves, I want to know your God. I want people to hear my story, hear about my journey and be moved. When I prayed this prayer, I didn't even think it was going to happen this time. And then I'll talk about how this whole thing happened, how I decided to do this, what came, what happened. I'm going to talk about it in my other videos as time goes by. So earlier, I spoke about obedience. Yes. We must listen, and when we hear, we must obey, because the blessings are linked to these conditions. I'm going to read a Bible verse from Deuteronomy 28 verse 1. Now it shall come to pass, if we delightfully obey the voice of the Lord your God, to observe carefully all his commandments, which I command to you today, that the Lord your God will set you high above all nations of the earth. Hearing and obedience go hand in hand. So let's just link that to my issue. So imagine when I met the man of God and he told me, if you worship God well, he's going to bless you well, and then I didn't obey. Do you think I would have gotten certain things I have gotten now? Or do you think I would have gotten where I wanted to be? Or do you think I will get to where I want to be? No. I mean, one thing about me is immediately God says I should do something. Hey, I don't even wait. I don't waste time. Because I know that if God is telling me to do something, he knows that I have the ability, I have the capability to do it. You know, sometimes God can tell you to do something, and then you're like, oh, I don't have the resources, I don't have the strength, I don't have the capability to do it. But you know, before God asks you to do it, he knows what is within you. He knows you than you know yourself. So before he asks you to do what he is telling you to do, then he knows that you can do it. So most of the time people are praying for manifestation, but they haven't received it just because they haven't obeyed what God asked them to do. So have you asked God what he wants you to do to enable you to get what you want? Because these things are linked. We need to ask God for the spirit of obedience, because our obedience is tied to our manifestation of blessing. So there are so many blessings attached to obedience. So many blessings attached. I pray that we begin to obey God, and more importantly, hear the voice of God. Hear the voice of God. It's very, very, very important. So thank you very much for joining us today. And then I'll see you in my next episode. Bye.